So I guess we're live.
Cool. Welcome here, Sahar.
Thanks.
Awesome to have you here. And I realize you just finished the Women in Data Science conference, right? What was that about?
Yeah, so on Tuesday we had Women in Data Science Stockholm conference. It was a virtual event. It's an event that is annual, and it's based on an initiative started by Stanford 5 years ago to inspire women in the field of data science, AI, and machine learning, and to also build a community and grow people in this path, especially focusing on women. And we started in Stockholm 3 years ago, and we had our first event in 2018. And every year it started growing, and this year
Corona year.
Yeah, Corona hit us, so just like a few days before the event we had to cancel it. It was supposed to be on Friday the 13th of March.
In March, yeah.
And
that was right when Corona started to explode a bit.
Yeah.
And previously we had like physical conferences in Stockholm.
We had physical conferences. It brought a lot of challenges to find out what is a good way of having good content, engaging conversations, and having networking happening also for women. But also meant a lot of people outside of Stockholm could join, not just Sweden, but also around the world, which was super nice. And we are really, I have a really high bar of what we put out. My co-organizers as well, but I think we feel quite content with the event.
So it just finished, was it on Tuesday now?
Yeah, it was Tuesday. So we had around 220 people that attended and stayed for the whole event. And we had 3 invited speakers, very good experts talking about human-computer interaction. We had about machine learning operation, and we had talk about advanced analytics and game theory. Then we had 6 talks, lightning talks from women in the field that they had 5 minutes explaining about how infrastructure in the problem in their domain works from different companies. And we also had a mingle, a virtual mingle.
A virtual mingle? How does that work?
How did that work?
So last week I attended the Rexis conference where they used a new platform, Gather.town.
Gather.town?
Yeah. And it's a 2D pixeled environment, and you have a virtual avatar, and then you can build conference rooms, you can build a bar, and you can have a lot of virtual elements that to interact with. And it's super nice because you have audio and video, and then if you move from people away, their video is fading and their audio fading. If you are close, you can locate people and move to them, and then there are designated areas that no one else can hear you.
So people are sitting behind web cameras, and you can see the one close to you in this virtual. So space
you just connect. So as an organizer, we built one environment, and then you just join that environment with your microphone and your camera on, and then if you can move with arrow keys, and if you are your avatars are close to each other, so you can talk to each other and hear each other
and see each other
as well. So it was a very interesting experiment, and I think people had some fun.
So it was positive, or obviously it's a lot of differences from a physical conference, but what were your expectations, and how did it actually turn out, you say?
So I think in the past 6 months, I attended a few conferences. So few days conferences, more scientific ones, or 1 day conferences or meetups. And many of them, they are not engaging. Many of them, they require you as a speaker to record yourself, and then you have, for instance, just the Q&A that is interactive, or Even the Q&A sometimes is just like a text, and the mingle is not really interactive. But I think this one probably was the best that I've seen. But also, like, I should not talk about our own event and say it was like the best, but I think it was a good platform to try out. It's quite new. I don't know how they scale, but we enjoyed the experiment.
Maybe that's the point. When we do something virtual like this, it has to be some fun to it, or something to break the ice. Yeah. What do you think, going into a virtual event, my experience has been also that we know it's also up to who is participating to transfer the conference behavior onto a virtual platform. So it's actually a lot of responsibility on how you use the platform. I've seen quite a few conferences having quite good service, but we're not really using it as participants. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, the other good conference that I attended was Foundation of Games. And in that domain, people in general are very interactive. They like to have conversations. It's a smaller community, but it's a very fun community to work with. And then you could see, it was with Discord and it was Zoom, but you could see people how much they are engaged. They give comment. They share things with each other. But while you go to another conference, it's the style is very formal and everyone is busy, so they zone in to the conference and zone out, and they are not as engaged. And it could be Zoom or whatever technology used in both of them, but the experience becomes quite different based on what the community does with it. Yeah. So I've attended 2 conferences, both of them using Hova and Zoom. So similar setup. But one of them was very interactive, and the other one wasn't at all. Yeah. Do you think, as a conference producer, because now you've been on this side, what are the small tricks and tips that you can do using the same technology, but essentially getting the movement, getting the interaction happening? What's your best trick? I think we need to iterate quite a lot to succeed, so we haven't reached there yet. But what we did, though, I have to say that we did a test run. So we had a meetup during summer, so that we learned quite a lot from that. And then we planned this event according to that one. So the interaction piece was missing, and we learned that it should be there. One of the things that I've also learned to secondhand information is that there is also a risk of people bullying each other in the chats. We decided to go for a webinar format because we wanted to, sometimes that it's a small community, who is joining, then it's you feel more comfortable to take the risk of having an open platform. But sometimes it's not possible, and in this case we decided to go for a webinar. But then our speakers had some engagement elements. And we always also have a poll in our event so that participants can tell about themselves, give us some input. I think one thing that is super important is also to communicate, send out to participants here's how you can dial in, here are the platform that we are going to use. Giving instructions how to behave. Exactly. So instructions is super key. And then, during the event, I think again, each of the speakers, if they have some element of interaction, asking a question and see what people write, for instance, in the chat. That's nice. That gives you at least some point of I'm there. There are small means to have some different types of questions, and what do you call it when you have some sort of mentometer? You have something to voting systems. They are quite so small things like this. The experience changes quite a bit, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a learning experience for everyone. So I would say it takes a year. That to have this attempt at least once, and then what you do better next time. And a lot of companies are starting building new things new platforms that we can use.
Speaking about the future, what do you think about women in data science 1 year from now, or when the corona pandemic is starting to pan out a bit? And starting to return a bit to normal. Do you think it will go back basically to the old style or traditional style of conferences?
I think we are missing this touch of like having like person-to-person interaction. Yeah. So we would love to go back to a normal situation, but like I think at this point it's very unclear because this next event is going to be in March.
What do you think, like 3 years ahead, assume we have vaccines for everything and we have the pandemic under control?
So there's a couple of things. I think I really like to have this local interaction so people can meet. Like I'm looking for a mentor, so I want to meet this person. It's just like you get you share emotions. You figure out like the pain of people. You figure out that I can have more coffee with this person and like learn more. So that I really miss, and I would like to have that and continue having that. But the other aspect is that opportunities. So I think, in my opinion, having everything centralized in Stockholm is not fair. Like, if you have someone super interested that can't attend to flight from Luleå for a one-day conference, why not being able to join virtually? Yeah. So maybe a mix of the two would be a good thing to have. I mean, I'm complaining about conferences that I attended, but like a lot of these conferences I couldn't have attended if it wasn't virtual, right?
So we are maybe going to something as a hybrid of some kind.
I'm hoping for that.
I like a hybrid.
Yeah, I mean it could be a way, because conference can also be something that only a very few top people can go to, and perhaps by having a more easy to access type of conference, more people can simply enjoy and learn more by this. Right?
There is another dimension, and it's the cost. So like this
or producing or attending or
attending.
Yeah.
Well, I mean it's both, but I think I would say attending. So like we have conferences that their cost is like $1,000. Yeah. And I mean, if you are coming from a startup, for instance, like you can't really attend those conferences, even for the sake of experience. So I would argue for that would reduce the cost. But I just wanted, because you asked about women in data science and like what I see in a year. I mean, I forgot to say that we have the conference that we are organizing with my super awesome co-organizers. We also we have this group, Women in Data Science Sweden group, which we are quite active in Facebook.
That's a Facebook group, right?
But we also have like a LinkedIn group, and we have a Twitter account. We do some other initiatives, so we are trying to grow the community. So we have been running some meetups. We have been also planning to have a mentorship program. And like a book reading club and like a few of these initiatives, so hopefully that we can support women in the field to grow further.
And what made you passionate about driving this community or be part of this community? What's important for you?
So this started with I think it was, so I was attending Women in Tech conference, and then I met Galina, one of my co-organizers there, and we started talking together as we feel that we don't have our own community because we were coming from a technical background and data and AI, and we felt like there is a gap, and we don't find women in the field that much in Sweden. And she attended Women in Data Science in London. And then she told me, hey, listen, there is such a thing, should we try that? And we said, let's start it. And then Rebecca joined. We started the first year. And then Tonya and Karin joined us.
So do you have a mission statement for the Stockholm chapter?
Yeah, so our mission is to, I don't remember exactly, but as I was saying, it's around we want to inspire and grow this community. So that's the most important goal we have.